Hi everybody, how are you?
Hello,
Welcome to Risen. I'm Haru,
I'm Light.
and and we are going to introduce the casters coming up next here because obviously they're not in the room. It'll be Swift Duelist tonight and DBZ Freak. They're gonna hype it up for the games, and then our producer is Wookie Monster. Light, you want to talk about the teams today?
Yeah, so today we have a couple teams that are last season they were kind of near the bottom of the pack. We got the Dock Stars, they were rated C via the write up that Old Man Genetics has there for the league, and then also they versus Crown Royal Gaming, and they were rated D tier. So I think the Dock Stars, the big thing that they try and play around is they have a plat support, and the rest of them are silvers. So he's is likely to be the playmaker, and maybe some bans would be to put towards him. And Crown Royal Gaming, they didn't do as good previously, but um, I think that they played a lot of ranked games so far this season, and their 80 carry Redbeard actually looks pretty good. He kind of pops off in some games, so let's see what he's got to use.
Nice, nice. That's
Yeah,
exciting. So I think we are gonna be getting to the draft pretty soon here. Any last words before we get in?
I don't think so, but good luck to both teams, and welcome to week 1 of Rampage.
Awesome, welcome. Thanks,
Good luck
everybody.
DBZ and Swift.
Yes, good luck to you both.
Hey, what's up,
Whoa!
guys? What is good?
This
uh,
isn't draft league. This isn't what I'm used to. What is this? It's a new league. What is this? Just kidding. Hello, everybody. Name's DBZ Freak 2. On my other side, it is the one and only Swift Duelist. How you
what
doing,
is
man?
up? I'm doing fine. I'm doing pretty chill. Got pretty productive today. Did some laundry, but now it is time to relax and enjoy the weekend by getting into some league.
Good old lag up legions. We had the LCS start this week, which was pretty banger to watch. And we also have, I think, weeks 2 and the LEC was today, and then we also have like week 3 or 4 of the LP and the LCK. So lots of League of Legends is finally we're getting back into pro play, and which also means it's our turn to start on the amateur side, meaning we're the cooler ones. Just kidding. No disrespect to the LCS, LPL, LCK, and LEC staffs. You're all amazing. So, anyways, here we are. Draft. Here we right now we have the first ban on DST side, which is the Gnar, who is a really strong pick, but not really a ban I would think unless like they have an idea that someone on the other team is going to play that champion. We have a no ban on the other side, so curious what that is. Um, don't really see anything indicating why for that, so that's really peculiar. So
I think it says that they don't have the first two bands, or like they don't have two bands.
oh,
I
gotcha,
think
you're
that
right
might be,
here.
yeah. I think that might be
Okay,
the reason for it, but
okay.
to
So
each
they
their
missed
own.
him. I mean, if since them missing two bans, that actually kind of takes away from some of those really fat priority picks that are coming in. Like, for example, we've seen Cassante be like uber busted in the hands of
Mhm.
Fudge, in the hands of Broken Blade, and just overall, just that champion is a lot more broken than he used to be. So, looking forward to see where this could potentially go in terms of the draft. So, they will once again CRG will miss this second ban. And in the meantime,
Mhm.
how about a non-sponsored message? Now I'm just kidding. That's a draft league meme.
Yeah. Shout out to the non-sponsors. As far as the bans go, I mean, we already mentioned, seems like CRG just have to forfeit their first two bans and
Mhm.
they'll have to live with it. Lots of power picks available. and DST deciding to go for Gnar, Diana, and Fiora.
Yeah.
It hurts me personally as a Fiora fan to see her gone, but you can already kind of just see that DST is prioritizing that top side of the map with 2 top laners and a jungle ban this early.
Yeah, it tells me instantly that they're okay. Interesting if they first picked the Malzahar here. Because you would think with these focus bans in the top lane that they would be focusing a priority top lane pick. For example, like the Cassante, who is really thrown back in by Gnar and Fiora, but they're gonna first pick the Malzahar. Okay, so already you got some good lockdown potential with the Malzahar, with the ultimate, so on and so forth. The spell shield kind of counters that, so really intelligent pick up from CRG. So never mind what anything I was gonna say, but Caitlyn Morgana just, oh my goodness, still a really strong bot lane. It kind of like went under the nose for a little bit, with the buffs to Zeri and a little bit in tune with in English here as who else got buffed in the AD carry role?
Pretty much like a bunch of the ADCs, like you got
Everyone, yeah.
Zeri got buffed. I mean, pretty much every ADC got some mana regen and some mana
True.
growth as well. So it's just like, and not to mention the crit item changes. That's like the main thing that sticks out here, where it's just like Caitlyn,
Yeah.
now she can get 40% crit at 2 items. You can go Gale Force IE and you're just living with it. And with Morgana paired up, you're chilling. And it seems like DST is just going the complete opposite. They're just like, we don't even want to touch crit right now. We have Malzahar and then Seraphine. So that just leaves Seraphine going bot lane at some point.
Yeah, looking at the Dock Stars right now, it's just with them blocking in the Seraphine, it's like you're kind of telegraphing you're intending on doing a lot of AP damage, and with Ezreal Seraphine, that definitely okay, they flipped it the last second. So Ashe Seraphine instead. So you got a lot of slow potential coming in, and Morgana Special can only block one ability. So actually, I like this pickup instead of the Ezreal, because in this case, you can break the spell shield with any one of these, locking abilities and keep going at it and fire more of your CC at either Caitlyn or whoever is front lining, lock them up. And that's actually really intelligent drafting, I think. They saw the Morgana, they're like, oh crap, we need more stuff that can break this spell shield and be able to go ahead. So now, CRG, last pick, what do you pick right here? Okay, Hecarim. Hecarim has been a power pick still. I don't think he's really been gone down in priority anytime soon, with Maokai rising in priority and even other junglers like Elise right now. But Hecarim has still been a staple for the past year, I would say, when it was the Udyr Hecarim, and he just hasn't gone away. Now,
Yeah.
DRG gets the rest of their bans here, so they can still take out 2 different priority picks that they think they have, because they don't have a top lane or a jungler, so they can either put this jungle bans, or I guess okay, Tompkins top would be a reasonable pick here if they needed some extra safety. But so taking that away is good. I do like that. And DST, what are you thinking of here? You see their bot side of the map, you see their jungler. What do you do here? It's okay, we can do more top lane picks, because it seems like it seems like that their top laner on the side of CRG is their strongest member, and taking out the Aurelia would be a really good extra start. So taking away a lot of these I want to fight you top laners is actually really smart and banning. And as I'm gonna look over at my notes real quick, and let's see, that would be
my man's got the notes primed and ready.
all right. Who am I?
Who is this guy? But
So
yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at a lot of these top lane picks here, and they're banning the Akali. They just use 4 bans on all of their top laners' top 4 champions that they play if they ban this Akali here. So their top laner is their strongest member if they decide, okay, so Yasuo is still just as good, but man, absolutely insane what they're doing here. And oh my goodness, I just looked over in chat, and we got a raid from the SDC League. 55 viewers. Hello, all of you. Welcome to week 1 of I almost said the wrong league, but this is the Premade Rampage League. Welcome. I'm DBZ Freak 2, Swift Duelist over here. We are here in the draft for game 1 right now, so welcome everybody. And now Corky is locked in. I'm getting PTSD.
PTSD already, and then a Mumu. I'm guessing that's going to be a Mumu jungle if they do decide to lock that in.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, as far as the draft's been going, I mean, Corki isn't too bad in a Malzahar, but both of you guys are kind of just sitting there scaling. I want to say Corki outscales him because Malz doesn't really have that much range, but I honestly really like the way DST's draft is going. I mean, Amumu, Ashe, and Seraphine, they just do so well into Caitlyn Morgana, so it's just going to be super difficult to walk into them. Same thing for the Hecarim. I mean,
my goodness,
they literally have a Malzahar. I don't know how you're going to walk into Seraphine, Malzahar, Amumu without Yumi or anything just bailing you out. and
agree.
Mundo locked in. That's going to be a little bit of a yikes for that Corki, to say the least.
And one thing I didn't calculate into my head is Ashe and Seraphine are both flex picks, so this technically could be Ashe, AP carry. Sorry, not Ashe AP carry. Seraphine AP carry support. That's what it could potentially be. We'll have to wait and see, as the draft goes on. But just looking at the side of DST's draft, it's absolutely insane. Frontline in the Amumu and the Mundo, like just absolutely nuts. And Gwen picked up for CRG, providing some of that shred that I think that they need.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm going through both drafts, and here's something I like to do when I go through both drafts. What I like to do is, where is the focus going to be? In this case, it almost seems like to me that they're going to focus maybe their attention on the mid lane to get this Malzahar ahead to be able to lock down and not be bullied by this Corki as hard. It is also possible that they could maybe rotate their pressure from mid all the way down and just create a lot of bot lane pressure to get the Seraphine ahead, assuming Seraphine AP carry, but we will find out as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I like the Darkstars draft more, like way more, to be completely honest. I think this should pop off pretty good. CRG does have a good draft. I think it's gonna come down to execution. They have a lot of AD, which is why they picked the Gwen up there for that AP damage in the top lane. We'll have to wait and see where this goes. I'm having I'm like thinking like where this could potentially go.
Yeah, like I'm in the similar mindset of you where I'm feeling like DST is probably ahead in terms of this draft because I mean, as long as Hecarim doesn't become too much of an issue, and I don't think Caitlyn will be considering the comp that she's going up against, there is quite an easy avenue for DST to take here to just start building MR and you counter pretty much half of CRG or at least mitigate a lot of their damage that's coming in. And if
Right.
like you mentioned, I feel like DST's plan should honestly just be either get Malzahar just like some influx gold to stay even with Corki, or just perma focus your attention down in bot lane because
Right.
Caitlyn, if she falls behind, I'm definitely interested to see how she spikes now with IE being available to her at 2 items. But
Right.
if she falls behind early in this game, then CRG's only way of getting back into this is either Corki just getting Giga fed and poking from a mile away, or Gwen being a solo carry, which, considering how many bans were thrown against her, I want to say there is a possibility of that. So those are the two ways that I see them playing out this game. CRG's got to get this Gwen or Corki ahead and just like have their AP carries like get way more ahead than Mundo or Mumu or any of their tanks,
Right.
and DST has to just perma focus bot lane, shut them down, and probably close the game early.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see what happens as the players were going through the draft on the client side. So it's going to be a little bit before we get into game. I want to pick your brain for a second here.
Go for me. Ask
So,
away.
you and I obviously get to see a little bit in advance, like where everyone is going before everyone else does. Now, in this case, okay, so this confirms what I'm thinking for the mid lane. But in terms of like volatility in the bot lane with what you saw, are you expecting a lot of like poke damage coming out from both sides, or are we expecting kind of a lame like we're gonna play Farmville until our junglers come down?
Honestly, if I'm looking at DST side, I think they're just gonna go for poke. The best way to punish Caitlyn is to just match her shove, and if you can match Caitlyn's shove or even outpush her and keep her closer to her tower, that's just better for you. And it's Hecarim who you're going up against. Hecarim isn't going to have the easiest time running into Ashe Seraphine to try to get some kind of a gank off. So as long
Right.
as they don't get picked off by like a stray Morgana binding, DST should have a pretty easy time out shoving this Caitlyn in this lane. And I think that should be their game plan. CRGs though, it's literally just fishing for fix in the early game. That's the best that they can hope for.
Okay. Um. Now, in my eyes, I like to focus mainly objectively, as I mentioned earlier. In this case, Amumu is going to be about faster, if not on par with Hecarim's farming, because with his tiers it has in his E, with that resetting every bit of damage he takes, he could realistically farm just as fast as Hecarim and even match him in some of these places. So it is very, very, very likely that these two junglers might meet very often on opposites on each side of the map, or even like maybe even crazier idea that Amumu ends up way ahead of the Hecarim in this instance because he's going to be tankier than Hecarim, be able to make more plays than the Hecarim with the flash ulti and like just being able to latch on with those hooks and whatnot. This could be a potential banger game. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a long one, but
Hmm.
who do you have taking this game before we go to break?
And I'm gonna just give it to DST. I want to believe in the Ash and the Mumu.
Hmm.
Also, a good old friend of mine from way back in the day. He used to always say Malzahar players were insecure mid laners, but in this game I'll allow it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of seeing Gwen and Corki 24/7, so if
Right.
they're put into the ground, I'll be happy.
Right. In terms of draft, I'm right there with you. It's going to mainly come down to execution. I think that DST might also take this game as well, but it is not a best of one, friendos. It's a best of three, which means that regardless of happens this game, we still maybe have at least one more or two more games coming our way. So
Mm,
while we load up into game, friendos, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we load in, and we'll catch you at the end of spectator delay for game one between DST and CRG.
yeah, we'll pass it over to the analysts. Have fun.
Oh gosh, I was
Hey,
unmuting
hey,
myself. I
welcome
did
back,
not expect
everyone.
that. Hi, everyone.
So, Haru, what do you think about that draft?
um, so I one thing I know about casters is they love they're really intelligent, but they love talking shit. So I personally I'm a little like for me, I'm cheering for both teams, you know. It's like the first week. We just want a positive start of the week, you know. So we're gonna head out. First I'll say
Yeah,
which champs I like on both teams. Like one champ.
yeah.
So I
Well, which
have the
just like
draft.
choose who you think favored. Like, who has the better champions? Who's gonna take it?
Okay, I played with a Hecarim yesterday and he dominated. And then I'm gonna give to CRG because everyone keeps saying the other team. I over the
Okay.
underdog team always. I don't know
I
which is
mean,
the underdog.
looking at both teams, I like what DST has for like death ball groupage, but I'm just worried that um if if like Gwen and Hecarim they get a lead, they can kind of itemize against that really heavy AP team they got. Um, I don't, in my opinion, I don't think Ash has enough DPS to deal with that team comp if they were to go late game. But Deathball DST would definitely take it if they can play it right and their tanks don't overextend. Keep in mind, CRG has pretty good disengage, so that could be hard to
CRG,
catch them out
CRG has like
if they
the
position well.
early
That is,
mid
I
game,
think
and then
if the bot lane, the bot lane. Sorry to interrupt.
no, it's okay. Keep going.
Oh yeah, I think if the bot lane plays safe, I think that CRG actually has a pretty good shot. But if they don't have good positioning, then they're gonna lose this game by the death ball. What do you think,
You know,
Hart?
like you have Hecarim that can fly across the map, and then Corky who also has a package and will fly across the map. So there's like those
Yeah,
threats. But if DST get it to the late game, I think that they might potentially be able to take it. So it really, obviously, this can go 100 different ways. This game, I'm not going
yeah,
to predict who's the winner, but those are my comments, my positive, nice comments.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Definitely, Gwen, Corky, and Caitlyn are gonna be shredding those that front line. So,
but we got
um,
like the Mundo that if you just let him farm, and then he will he will shred through Corky most
yeah,
likely and Caitlyn, and then Morgana can't really protect them. So we'll see. I
yeah, for
have
sure. And like, it looks like I would say that DST should probably try and get as many dragons as possible in the early mid game, just because I think that it's going to be hard if the CRG gets the first few dragons. It's going to be hard to contest the third one when if like you got Corky package, Hecarim R, like if maybe Morgana has stopwatch at that point for third Drake, and it just could go really bad. And you're three Drakes down, and that could be a win con for the CRG. So yeah, let's look to see who focuses the dragons first and what their
all
game
the
plan is.
yeah, the priorities are
Yeah.
very, very
Also, it's
important
quite
for
bot
every
lane
game
meta,
for
so we'll
sure.
see how these junglers are pathing. Likely, a lot of them will go choose to go bot side currently, so we'll see. And we'll
Uh,
just throw it to a break, and we'll be in
yeah,
game soon with DBZ and Swift Duelist. Thank you.
uh, thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
All right, everybody, what is up? Welcome back from our short little break. We are back at it here with game 1 of Premade Rampage. It's the first game of the season, and we've got DST versus CRG. And I'm Swift. If you guys have short-term memory loss, I'm going to be your play-by-play for today, and I'm joined here by DBZ Freak over here on the color commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got a pretty banger game going on here. We got the Mundo up in the top lane and Mumu in the jungle, and they decided to opt in for the Ashe Seraphine bot lane on the side of DST, which I'm here for. I mean, considering you had the crit changes just come in only a few days ago, might as well get that ADC some love and put Seraphine down in the support role.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed instantly is these teams had pretty much posted up immediately in the 5-point stance coming in. So there you see them spread all across in each entry point on the map to make sure that no cheeky invades happen, which they probably could have done one with the Morgana binding, but they see a ward that just went down in the river and they see the Morgana out. Now they'll walk back into the jungle, but I don't think either of them know where the junglers are starting, but they'll have a pretty good idea. So here, bot lane starts, boom, red buff going down to the Amumu. And Gwen going late, so they might be hinting at that, like, you know, ooh, our jungle could be anywhere, but I think they have a pretty good idea of what's going on, as Gwen just got back to lane, and the bot lanes will be meeting up very shortly. And now we have level 2 starts for both the junglers here, a minute 50 into the game. Caitlyn, all 3 CS, you love to see it, especially as an AD carry player. I'm surprised Morgana did not start W first level 1 for a little bit of poke. I think there may have been a little bit of communication, like we might go for an invade here, but they opted out of doing so. So that's okay, you know, it happens. And we continue on, so let's see what jungler starts. So Amumu is already sped run all the way to his top side. He's taking wolves at the moment and has the tempo advantage on the Hecarim, which is kind of what I figured might happen. It's just Amumu is really good at farming per se. It's just like he's my go-to jungler when I play him. And here in the top side, you know, level 2 is happening, and there's a good stun.
Yeah, nice binding, but we do have the stun coming out here onto the Morgana. It was a pretty solid combo, just showing the power of Ashe Seraphine there. It's like once the slow's already applied, that Seraphine E does stun if it connects twice. So now Morgana already chunked out to less than half HP. They did get the ignite off of the Seraphine here, so they do have that as an advantage in the lane, but not too much coming out of it, at least for now. And then, I mean, in the meantime, if you saw top lane, they're just scrapping at it. Mundo just doing what he can into the slowly but surely creeping Gwen. That will become a problem, I assume, later in this game.
And one thing that happened while we were also kind of looking away from him is Amumu has pretty much cleared his whole side of the jungle, except the Krugs, obviously. But the fact that he cleared faster than the Hecarim had just not finished his Krugs, and is pathing towards the top side, so this could get pretty dicey here in a second as we watch the pathing. Does not look like... Oh, I lied.
Yeah,
It might
get something
juicy.
off here.
Here we go.
When EQ in, chunking out the HP, and they do drop the Ignite onto the Mundo, but yeah, he is not long for this world. First blood going over to the Hecarim, and CRG get the first kill of the Premade season on the board right now. And it makes sense. I mean, we talked about it before the game. This Hecarim's got to get either this Corki or this Gwen accelerated, and he's doing just that.
Yeah, that 200 gold is going to make a difference a little bit. Already up 1.5. Oh my goodness, wait, they're already up over 1,000 gold, I just realized, and that's kind of nuts. I need to see where this lead is coming from exactly, so definitely, okay, so 400 in the jungle, 300 in the top lane. Wow, okay, so it's actually a lot bigger gold difference than I thought there would be at this point in the game already, and I'm actually surprised. I guess... Let's see, so we have a 10 CS lead, 11 now here in the bot lane, so that's where that's kind of coming from. But definitely in the jungle is with that first blood and the assist gold going over as well. Kind of nuts, and I didn't think that this would be the case this early in the game, but here we are with a solid lead in the snare lands.
Binding does land, so does the trap. E does land as well, another headshot coming in, but just not quite enough damage coming out from that Caitlyn. Does get Seraphine extremely low. Now it's going to put them on the back foot. Meanwhile, another binding does land. That's 2 for 2. Ashe autos are coming in, chunking Morgana down about half HP, but they don't want to continue going forward as the wave starts to push in. And yeah, Mumu try to go in. He's sitting at the tower, just making sure that they can farm this safely, and he's backing off. Although Hecarim's on his jungle, just clearing away.
Yeah, a lot of damage on from Seraphine coming in to kind of trade that back in their favor. I guess I wouldn't exactly say in their favor per se, but kind of even it out, and we're still fighting here in the bot lane.
Yeah, Mumu loop back around. Beat drop does seem to connect, forces the flash out of Morgana, flash forward, but shout out to the Caitlyn using cleanse, thinking it was healed. Oh my, and then Mundo, living with a sliver of HP, gets the cleaver to connect, and he escapes with his life, but solid kill coming out from the bot lane of DST.
Wow, and level 6s are now starting to come online here, 5:40 minutes, and then the Dragon is going to be taken on the bot side as well. That is a Chemtech Drake that is going over to DST, and you like to see it. So get a really good start on this Dragon lane. This is like I said in draft, where is the objective focus going to go? And it's going exactly where I figured it would, with Amumu being able to kind of take control of the... Oh goodness, they're done.
Yeah, Mundo, you're not gonna get much of that staying under that tower with that little HP. Gwen just picking up essentially a free kill, and now the game is kind of back in CRG's favor.
Yeah,
gold-wise at least.
Gold-wise, yeah, you were correct. Gold-wise, I'm very thoroughly surprised that ended up going how it did. I mean, Mundo should have just known that there was potentially a dive coming, just backed off. But maybe he thought he could hit 6 in time and then pop that and not die, but just unlucky timing, I suppose. And really good job by the Gwen to utilize her damage this early into the game. And if this keeps going the way it does, Gwen is going to be unstoppable. Now, you and I both predicted DST to win this game, but so far it is not looking good, that's for sure.
It is not, but I did call how they had to play this game out if CRG was gonna win. I'm like, all right, DST's got to focus bot lane, and that's what they've been doing. And CRG, it's like they gotta get this Gwen ahead, and she is certainly ahead. And meanwhile, in the bot lane, just more fighting going out. Caitlyn taking the brunt of all this poke coming out from Seraphine, gets about even in terms of HP with this Ashe, and now Corki just unloading a bit of damage onto this Malz, but Malz is looking for a fight as well as them in the bot lane. Malzahar getting his ultimate down, setting up the clean bandage for a Mumu. Meanwhile, Hecarim gets a gank off of his own in the bot lane, picking up 2 kills, and in the top lane, pretty much every lane fighting. Gwen getting her ulti out, and there is nowhere for him to go. This is a pretty big sweep for the side of CRG, as this was a 3-1 fight. All the while, Hecarim is 1v1ing this Amumu. I don't think you beat a Hecarim in a 1v1 scenario, my guy. Forced to flash away and does get bailed out by the Malzahar just in time, but unable to secure that scuttle.
Big boy Hecka baby coming in. I call Hecarim Hecka baby for anyone who didn't want to know that, so you're welcome. Now you have to suffer with me the rest of the series. So, Hecarim coming in, and he's showing that he just immediately ulted down. Like, the bot lane started fighting prior to that, which I kind of wish we could have seen how that fight started, because we kind of got started in the mid lane, then we jumped all the way to the bot lane where they were already low. Hecarim comes in, gets 2 kills for himself. In the mid lane, Hecarim does the classic outplay button. You press R, someone can't move, they get CC, die. There's really nothing extremely analytical about that one. And then on the top side, you have Gwen just pressing R, hitting Ignite, and just shredding the Mundo's health bar. Absolutely nuts with all this fighting going all over the map. And Malzahar has not backed yet, has he? Still has 1100 gold, so no. Interesting.
Yeah, he's chilling for right now. Ooh, nice damage coming out from that Caitlyn there. But yeah, as you were mentioning, it was pretty scrappy, all things considered. And right now, the 2 people that are the most fed on CRG are probably the worst case scenario if you're anyone on DST at the moment. Because Hecarim, as fed as he is going to be such an issue, especially when nobody on your team is even with them per se. And now Gwen, probably the one person you have to worry about the most, considering she got 4 bans in the draft phase earlier. Definitely somebody who seems to know what they're doing when there's gold in their pocket.
This brings up a very excellent point that I've been complaining about for League of Legends for far too long. 10 bans is no longer enough.
10 bans. I mean, you say that, but we have to point out that CRG walked into this game with only 3 bans, and they're doing this well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really wouldn't even have mattered. CRG is confident enough to know they can pick whatever they want, but our top laner will still pop off in some way or another. Really strong top jungle, I will say for sure. So, just the way they're communicating between the 2 of them with the couple top lane plays that happened, Gwen getting her own kill, and the first blood that happened, Mumu awkwardly here as the Rift Herald is falling over. He's going for this.
Yeah, Hecarim just trying to get a bits of damage onto a Mumu, asserting his dominance, I'd say, after securing that Rift Herald. I mean, it's pretty understandable, all things considered, that CRG should have control of this top side of the map with how fed the Gwen and the Hecarim are. Now he's going to take a quick recall and probably spend more of his gold, and it seems as though he went for a Manamune first, already stacking that bad boy up, so he's definitely going damage loaded in the early game. Might be building a bit tankier in the later stages, but for now he's trying to get accelerated as possible.
See, this is what happens when I stop watching League of Legends for a month. I'm confused as to why. Oh, goodness, we have a fight in the bot lane.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land. The beat drop only lands 1, but the Encore connects onto 2. Unable to get any more damage onto the Caitlyn and forces the flash out of the Ashe. Unable to go anywhere. Ace in the hole, securing the fate of Ashe, but Hecarim sweeps in and steals both of them for himself. Another double kill going over to Hecarim, putting him at 5-0, if I'm not mistaken. And all the while, Gwen just kind of hovering around Mundo, taking plates for free and not even flinching.
That's just Gwen. It's just how far ahead she is. But the dragon will go over to CRG in the meantime. This is an Inferno, so that little bit of extra damage will come in handy. They're just slowly ballooning this gold lead too. They're almost at 4K, and Mumu is here in the top side. But this is a Gwen, so I don't know if you want to do this.
Like, I'm saying but I mean, for DST, I'm not gonna lie. Dragon does get secured by CRG, and meanwhile, Gwen dropping the W here, as well as the ultimate. Amumu, Curse of the Sad Mummy, does drop a Conqueror is proc. One last cast of the ultimate is available. Barely hits one, but it might be enough to keep her alive, but it isn't. Shutdown going over to the Amumu here, and that is a pretty big kill going over to the side of DST.
Now, I think you would have preferred that shutdown go over to the Mundo, but you'll take it because that's much needed gold that comes back. And
Corki.
He's here?
Yeah, I think he used package. Yeah, he packaged over the wall. He's fishing for that Amumu, but Amumu knows what the play is, and he's staying far away from him. Corki unable to pick up anything off of that package use.
Well, and that's just a random arrow. Okay, so I'm taking over and seeing the goldies right now. At the moment, is still down 1,700 gold to the Gwen, which is a massive gold deficit. 1,600 onto between the Hecarim and the Amumu. So again, massive gold deficit that's gonna show its prowess as the game goes on. The mid lane, Malzahar's ahead. Imagine that because of that first blood. And TP here in the mid lane from the Gwen. The first tower will also fall in the top lane after them getting that Herald earlier in the game. Just more gold being funneled in. More and more. It's just they have to realize at this point. It's like, okay, they're starting to get too far ahead on the side of CRG. DST's got to pull it back a little bit. Not pick weird fights like this one, for instance, because Gwen will whoop your butt, and it is not going to be pretty when she does.
He's definitely looking for it. I mean, do you
So
have
it's
a
Hecarim.
Malzahar? He's chunking out to half HP, but doesn't respect the Hecarim. He does preemptively flash the Onslaught of Shadows, and he is safely away, but does lose half of his HP in the process.
Yeah, so I guess you're looking, you're like, all right, I didn't die, but I still had to burn Flash, which, burning Flash is kind of crucial when you're a non-mobile mid laner, because, in this day and age, every single champion seems to have a dash. And do you die here to Corki? Probably.
Yeah,
You're
you
greeting
might,
for
you might
hello?
be. Yep, we're greeting for the control ward, and you don't have Flash this time around, I'm sorry to say. And that is a kill going over to the Corki, essentially neutralizing whatever lead Malzahar had in that lane.
Yeah, I just ticked over to the gold. Nope, still 400 gold lead. So you know what? That's okay. That's actually pretty okay. So you're like, all right, whatever, die for nothing. Oh, tower
All right,
play gold. Never mind.
there goes the tower play. That's all I'm saying. It's neutralized. Get it out of here.
Oh goodness. Okay, so yep, 700 gold down now. Just insane. It's just a lot of goldies, and I can't believe we are still doing this Hydra Corki nonsense. So I'm wondering what's going to happen after he finishes the Manamune. I'm assuming he should be going for probably the AP for that big rocket damage that we saw a lot last year that plagued every single solo queue game imaginable. But bind here in the bot
nice
lane.
binding coming out. Enchanted Crystal does drop, but the spell shield coming out from Morgana saves her life, to say the least. Ashe continuing to try to push in some damage, but gets eaten up by another binding. Q does land out of Caitlyn, ace in the hole, but flashes aren't lined up in time as Caitlyn picks up a kill onto the Ashe and blows a flash out of the Seraphine here. It is a pretty scrappy bot lane.
Oh yeah. That's what I figured, though. I mean, we were calling it out in draft. We're like, this should be a pretty scrappy bot lane coming in. Drifted Bunnies will go live right now, but the bot lane, because will have a lot of poke. That once they land their CC, they're gonna all in, and that's why I said potentially drafting this much CC with this spell shield might not be good, but at the same time, you're gonna try to break it as quick as you can. Because let's be real, they tried to land everything on the Morgana, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Encore. Both of them just were moot because of the spell shield. So unlucky for them. Here we are back in the top lane. In the meantime, let's see, we got a little bit of weirdness happening. Okay, in the bush, when Hecarim taking the entire bot side jungle of the Amumu. Should just take it, get out, easy peasy. Gwen could run this dude down.
He's looking for it here. Flash coming out from the Hecarim, from the Mundo, but he's got nowhere else to go. With that red buff applied, he's just getting run down. Poor Mundo sitting out here at 0-4. Meanwhile, Corki getting pushed away from the mid lane as Mumu tried to look for something there, but just nothing gonna happen quite yet. Also, shout out to HD.
All right. In the meantime, we got pings coming onto the dragon. This will be the first Hextech break. What are we doing?
Looking for something. He eats a binding at point blank. Doesn't want to use the bandage toss, but Enchanted Crystal Arrow gets blocked once again by that spell shield. That Morgana is playing the game of her life. I mean, the amount of bindings that I've seen her connect, as well as these spell shields coming out at proper timing, is really good. Like, I don't know about you, but I can only imagine how many Morganas I played with that would insta spell shield the second a Mumu even appeared on the screen.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Oh, we got another fight happening.
Nice binding coming out here, losing a bunch of HP. One more crit and that'll do it. Penspan picking up another kill. Mumu coming in with the Curse of the Sad Mummy is able to get a kill onto the Ashe. Bandage toss going forward, trying to stick onto that Caitlyn, but it's just not enough. The Kraken is doing way too much damage. Meanwhile, Malzahar on the back foot, trying to deal any sort of damage to assist that Ashe, but she had very little time to live, and the same goes for him as Gwen has already joined the fight and make that a 4-for-1 for the side of CRG as well as this Hextech Dragon.
I'm not even going to talk about what happened in that fight because I'm more focused on the Hecarim having a Dusk Blade. This is going to be a lethality Hecarim game coming in. Are you kidding me? This dude's looking to one-shot everybody. I mean, it makes sense. You have 3 squishies on the enemy team. That's just absolute insanity. Wow. I thought lethality Hecarim, I thought that build was dead, but here we are. I mean, nope. We're just going to watch him just try to delete people in some of these team fights as the game goes on. I mean, they're up 10 kills. They're up 8,000 gold. So, I mean, at this point, all their carries have damage, all the damage they need, and they all have bounties. So, like...
Yep. I mean, at this point, it's a pretty difficult game to play for the side of DST here. And Corki standing his ground. He does have a Hecarim behind him. He does eat the Q, but nice Encore coming out from Seraphine. Lands onto 2. The shutdown goes over to the Mundo as the Cleaver takes his life. And that's a decent bit of gold going over into the side of DST. but it's not the people that you necessarily want, right? Where you just mentioned you got a 2-item Hecarim at 18 minutes, and he was just there, potentially available to be claimed, but nothing
Boy.
happening just yet. Morgana just walking in 1v4, trying to protect
dies.
that tower, but just instantly dying. I mean, no stopwatch available, possibly a little overambitious, but for now, they're still got a pretty sizable gold lead, so they can play around with it at least.
I wish I could think of a coherent thought for what I just witnessed there, which was a little question mark ping worthy. I mean, just you have no stopwatch. None of your team is there. Like, why are you walking into that? But you know what? Whatever. It's fine. They're just like probably like LOL. But I mean, it doesn't matter with Gwen about to be 1v4'd here.
Yeah, Gwen is looking to take a pretty sizable fight, and will she be able to stand her ground?
Shutdown. Okay.
Not this time. Yeah, pretty. That's one of those 2 shutdowns that you definitely wanted to pick up here, and it goes over to the Malzahar, probably the most influential people on your team at the moment. But Corki Package is used up, and that shield bow is not saving you anytime soon. That is a pretty free kill going over to Corki. The Corkster even.
So I think it's ASDF movie 4, where just the only thing I could think of was that one scene where the dude's just like, oh, and that's like all I could think. Just that's the only thing that like that clicked in my brain when that happened. It's just, oh, all right.
I'm trying to remember what clip he was saying oh to, but I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
So just Ash gets deleted. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then we have the Amp Tone just sitting in the inventory. I think he's gonna go for the Luden's Mythic here. But across the board, as we look at items, so everyone across the board except Amumu has a Mythic, and except for Corki and Morgana. But they're pinging. Wait, they're going up to the top side of the map. Baron is up in 4 seconds. This is a little early and presumptuous to do this, but they're gonna go ahead and start it.
Nah, they'll be fine.
Baron.
Yeah, they shred this. They see a Mumu on the bot side of the map, and it's a 2-item Gwen and a Kraken Slayer Caitlyn. If you got this much damage, I'd hope you take this Baron fast. And considering it's nearly gone by the time they get spotted out, I think that's a pretty safe bet. 17 seconds till this Baron gets taken, but Onslaught of Shadows cancels out that Encore. There's no CC stopping this horse, and you got Gwen just shredding up that Malzahar. No ulti available. Mundo able to pick up the shutdown onto an overzealous Hecarim here with no ulti available to him, but Gwen is just going in by herself. Perma getting slow. Nice dodge on the bandage toss as well as the spell shield, keeping her alive just enough to make this a 4-for-1. This is one heck of a gold swing, as if the gold wasn't already swung in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, that 1,000 gold shutdown does go to the Mundo, which you're okay with that. That gets him close to doing a Thornmail. We got a TP coming in from the Gwen, just looking to break open this base. I mean, it's 2v4 at this point, and neither of them really deal that much damage. Just look at how much just little snippety snip that Gwen is doing. And just like what you said earlier, is just Gwen getting those kills earlier, just that pretty much sets up for a disaster for the side of DST. That champion is just so good when she's so ahead, and I've been on the end of being absolutely dumpstered by Gwens that are fed. It's not fun. Now, to go back to what I was saying about this Corki build. So he finishes the Ludens. That's exactly what I thought would happen. So Corki gets a lot of AP scaling off of his rockets, which is why you're seeing, you know, the AD part of the build being AD for, you know, for his autos, but the AP for his Valkyrie, you know, his Corki package, which does so much damage, and the rockets, which also do a ton of damage. It was nerfed a little bit last year, but not like... Oh no, please don't blame this.
And do see a bit of push cheesing, and Morg picking up a kill here. Gwen going in by herself, Onslaught of Shadows over the wall. That's all you really need. Curse of the Sad Mummy forced to be used defensively, as well as an Enchanted Crystal Earl that keeps the rest of the team at bay. But at this point, that's a 2-for-0 and a free dragon. If they take this one, it puts them at soul point, and there's very little room for DST to make any sort of a contention in this game.
Nope, not at all. So unlucky for DST. There's just their gold lead. Just look at it, 12,000 now, just about. And I mean, you just have to try to do what you can, or just, you know, kind of like, okay, we'll try to keep them ending the game a little bit faster. But in this case, oh no, Amumu getting caught here by the Corki.
The Corkster walking in. The only way Amumu can run is towards his Mundo.
Oh my God,
he's getting poked out, but the Rocket's just not quite finding it. Still able to chunk him out though, but Amumu's jungle is all but his. It's just not allowed for him to take.
Can we just take over to the gold for 1 second so you can see the
Don't make me look.
4,000 almost gold difference in the junglers? Look
I
at
mean,
that. That's
it's
insane. 3,000 in the top lane, 2,000 in the mid lane, 2,000 in the bot lane. I mean, just that's nuts. But they're gonna force here with this Baron. They're gonna force it down here in the top lane. Probably try to break open this, and here we go
Ooh.
again.
Flash coming out from the Seraphine, forced to use the Encore, but with the spell shield that keeps Gwen alive long enough to take her life as well. Most of the side of CRG are chunked out to half HP, thanks in part to the Malzahar keeping these waves at bay. But this is a pretty consistent picking that CRG are able to execute here. Malzahar fishing for anything at this point, but he isn't able to find anyone. Hecarim sweeping around, clearing out some vision. But right now they have the man advantage, and it seems like they have their sights set on this tier 3 top tower.
You should get this. I mean, they're so far ahead, they don't even have to back right now to go for it. They just, poke him out with this Corki damage coming in. Unless this hits.
Bandage Tots looking. He's looking for something. He might have looked for Curse of the Sad Mummy, but he just doesn't want to commit to it just yet.
I feel like if he has Flash, he goes for that play. However, Hecarim being around the corner just kind of means he deletes everyone the second they commit to that play. Good old Hecka baby, just doing what he does best, pressing R and everyone dies. I just noticed he also has a Spear of Shojin. Like,
Yep.
that wasn't obnoxious enough for us already.
Little Spear of Shojin on Hecarim. If you've seen Hecarim long enough, you know that Hecarim can pretty much build whatever he wants, and he can probably make it work if he's better enough. So right now, you see DST are just kind of catching waves, trying to shove them back as much as they can. As you mentioned, they have to deal with this Corki poke that keeps coming at them from all sides. And I mean, at least for now, it's not the worst thing in the world. Try to get some gold, maybe get to 2 items on certain people, potentially 3. But right now, if you're on DST, all you can really do is pray and hope that CRG makes a mistake.
We got a death cap on the Gwen that was just finished, so we're it's gonna be kind of spicy here the second she gets into a fight. I mean, realistically, everyone who's not tanky should just insta die to her when she gets on top of them. I just cannot believe just the amount of pressure that CRG are putting out. Well, also our prediction is very wrong. I'm just gonna mildly sidetrack with that one, but it's exactly what you said before the game even started. Is DST have to play it a certain way to take over this game, and they just didn't play it that way. They didn't try to get some mega focus onto the Malzahar, and we're fighting again.
Oh yeah, like you just see Gwen with the black spell shield
God.
on top of her.
Oh my
unable
God.
to land the bandage toss, and the ultimate is enough to pick up the kill. Flash forward with the Malzahar ulti, and that's going to be more than enough.
Oh, no,
Ashe
no.
picking up the shutdown, but Ace in the hole secures Ashe's fate. Onslaught of Shadows as well as the Corki Patches splits up the fight and has no more room left for DST to run as Corki finish up the rest of them. And that is a clean ace coming out from the side of CRG, and they might look to end the game here if they've got a wave.
Yeah, they do. They got a wave coming in mid. They have supers here. The inhibitors should be coming up right now, so they have to break that first before they can actually end this game. But they will use this wave here in the mid lane, end the game, and secure this victory for Game 1. Really well fought and well played by playing to their advantages. Champions who didn't need leads got the leads. And yeah, it's just an absolute stomp here for Game 1, and this will be the end of the very first game. CRG up 1-0 right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty it was a pretty intense game to say the least, but I'm glad to see that CRG were able to play to their strong suits.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the key takeaway from this game is that DST, even though they had a comp that a lot of us favored, they didn't execute it well enough. Where it's just like you could fast forward 15 or 20 minutes into the game, and that Caitlyn is just as even with that Ashe and Seraphine as anybody else in the game. And when you have your most important, or at least draft-wise most important player that drew 4 bans is up that ahead, and that jungler has that much of a presence, there's only so much you can do when you put all your resources onto the other side of the map.
Agree. I mean, I don't really have much to say. I mean, CRG just played to their advantages way better. They picked fights more necessary. What's the word I'm looking for? They accelerated those leads that they got in the top and jungle, and the 2 of them just took over the game and gave leads to everyone else. And as we saw, CRG just ends up taking the first game, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. Looking to see how DST can bounce back from this one, or if CRG can close this one out in a 2-0. But that's enough from us. We're going to be taking our short break, and in the meantime, we'll pass it over to the analyst
Whoa!
desk.
Oh, I thought you were gonna cut it to
I'm
break.
not.
So never
I'm
mind.
not going
Yes,
to cut it
analyst
off. I'm
desk.
going to give it. You got to give it to the analyst desk. What do you mean? I mean a short break for us. I've done enough work here.
Okay, you're
But
right.
yeah.
You're right.
But yeah, we'll pass it off to the analyst desk.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much, Swift and DVC, for passing it back and not taking it to break. Wow, that was a crazy game. Light, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it was kind of what I expected, to be honest. I think that the comp that DST came up with is a good comp in theory if they're all 5-man grouped. But if they fall behind things like Gwen and Hecarim, they're never gonna catch. They're never gonna catch Corki and Caitlyn. Like they're pretty safe champions. If you never played Corki and Caitlyn, like you know you can play safe enough to survive. And you got Morgana, and you have Fed frontline that's gonna engage. I think with DST, like if you had to, they should have been like forcing plays, like 5-manning bot, like get that Ashe ahead. The Ashe needs to be able to kill those people engaging on him or her. Sorry. And yeah,
So it
that's my
looks
opinion.
like
What else do you think?
it's one win for CRG and 2 losses for the casters. That's what it looks like. um,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
maybe.
sorry, continue. What were you
Sorry, keep
saying?
going. I was gonna say
I
maybe in the next game they could look to ban some different champions instead of focusing too much on the top lane.
I banned the heck out.
Yeah,
That's like, I mean Heckham's like he does well in certain picks, like in this case where he wants to just skyrocket example for like Corky and Caitlyn. He I think the goal was to get them on the more damaged side. So he helped them skyrocket. And then after that he's like, I'm gonna go farm now and just do my
yeah,
thing. But I had hope for both teams. So, it could have been any outcome and it was
yeah.
the outcome that you
Maybe
expected.
DST should
So,
play a little safer in the bot lane if they don't have support, like their jungler on their back, because they did get caught out by that Hecarim, and that really propelled the game state, in my opinion. So
yeah. I think
we'll see how they play it out next time.
A Mumu would have been great in that case too, but they just had to stall it out probably a little longer and not maybe play a little more passive, but no.
I think they need to play
Anyways,
more aggressive. I think they need to utilize their ultimates. That's my opinion.
as soon as it gets to 6.
Yeah, like start putting those ultimates on cooldown and start as soon as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's like the secret weapon of a Mumu and the Mono can just come and finish them off because
Yeah.
you know that's how it is. But we can send it to break pretty soon here, and then we can get into the next games pretty soon. What are those your last thoughts before we send
Yeah,
it?
I think that both teams look pretty strong, and I think that DSC does have a shot, and they could bring it back in the series. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's just going into second game, so we'll see how it goes. Second game always is like either a take back or an ultimate loss. So, anyways, we'll send it to break. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. It is I, Swift Duelist, and my boy DBZ Freak here, back at it again for game 2 of this series. And if you weren't here just a few minutes ago, you would have seen CRG absolutely destroy DST, for lack of a better term, as
Yep.
their Hecarim Gwen combo went kind of brazy.
You know, I know a lot of people from New York, and they would say the exact same thing, be like, "That was brazy, bro," and I'm like, "Yeah, "That was brazy, bro." But just the absolute monster that Gwen and Hecarim were because of those early kills that they got. Gwen getting that solo kill in the top lane, the first blood going over Hecarim, and the fact that Hecarim built lethality is just absolutely crazy to me, because that's a build we haven't seen realistically in like a year and a half. It's been a while since we've seen that build, but seeing it again made me scared. And is that the state of the game we're in?
We're just living life. It's all, you know what they say, time is just an endless circle or like an endless loop. We're just back at it again with the Dustblade Hecarim, which has come to haunt me.
Yeah.
And it makes me more and more afraid to play my placements this upcoming week or so.
Now, one thing I do want to wish for
hmm
is I really want to see one of these really random 80 carry support game, like support picks that we've been seeing in pro play. So in LCK, here's what we've seen so far.
hmm
Support, which is not anything new. Jin
Okay.
support, that's new. Callista
Okay.
support as of today by Carrier. This
hmm
dude, Carrier has been playing all sorts of these weird things, and I love it. I want to see potentially that thing. And then obviously we have the Heimerdinger support. We saw Azir support in the LCS when the 100 Thieves played Cloud9. They got dumpstered, by the way. A C9 rep all the way, baby. But anyways, instantly, just like all these really like let him cook picks. I guess that's
Yeah.
the meme right now. I don't know
I
why.
mean, it's just letting them cook at this point. And
Yeah.
if I'm DST at this point, we got to cook something up. Whoever was in the kitchen the first time, it kind of worked at first, but then it
Yeah, a little
didn't.
bit.
So it's just like he kind of overcooked it. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what they decide to drum up. And as usual, CRG, they won that first game without their first 2 bans. And the same goes for this game, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes, yes. And I saw someone calling me out in chat and hello, how's it going? But Hecarim, the ban for DST, very important because he literally ran over, not figuratively, literally ran over the game as that game was going on. Now, CRG still does not have 2 bans, so at this point doesn't even matter. They can probably play anyone against anyone they wanted, and they could, if they did the same thing happens last time, then we'll see. Now, will Gwen be the next pick? I kind of don't blame them. It's like, what's going on here? Like, what are we cooking this time? What kind of pancakes are we flipping this time? We're sticking with the Fiora band. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense because
Yeah.
in the first game they focused four
Yeah.
top lane bands, not 3. Let me get my
Yeah.
handy dandy.
It's
let me just
like
let me go to my sketch app real quick. Not 3. God, no, go! Don't hide the layer. Okay, this is not gonna work if the meme doesn't work.
don't worry, we'll give them time. Just
Ah,
keep
I hit a
everybody
layer.
updated. We see a Rakan ban coming through for the side of CRG, and then a Diana ban hover. I think those are the only other jungle ban that we saw in that first game, aside from all those top lane bans.
We
Meanwhile,
back in
DBZ Freak is
business.
just feverishly trying to find this layer.
4!
4. Hopefully, I can see it. Okay, 4.
4
4.
bands. 4.
4 top lane bans. 4 like that means like 4 like.
This is absolutely insane to me. And now we are here, and CRG have decided to steal the Caitlyn away. Or no, wait, they played the last game. Just
Played it
kidding.
last game.
CRG is sticking with the Caitlyn. DST now has 2 options to pick into the Caitlyn. Do they steal the Morgana to kind of give her a little bit of like I wouldn't say like safety, but like take away one of those really strong picks. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens from there. From there, this is okay. They lock in the Ezreal, nice. But
Yeah.
you have to take away the Morgana if that's the case. And their CRG is also really
Nah.
aware with this.
I'm just sitting here. Pick the karma. Pick a karma. You know,
Pick the
free.
Karma, yeah.
Pick a
Karma
karma.
is the best option here. I could not think of them. They're sticking with the Malzahar, which I don't think you should in this instance. I think you should pick another priority mid laner that's open here. If your mid laner can play a Kali or Silas, never mind. They lock in the Malzahar. Okay.
I mean, yeah, they picked it the first game, wasn't too bad. Now that we got 100% confirmation that it's Morgana, maybe now you can lock in the karma. Third, Hopefully, please. But yeah, I mean, Karma
Mm.
just is just a pretty common counter to Kate Morgana, where she can take away that black shield pretty easily just by herself. You already got Ezreal that does mixed damage, so he aids in that
Mm.
as well. And then Karma's just her RQ puts so much pressure on this bot lane as a whole on her own. I just wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to take it away.
Kane?
And Kanye Kane, we see Kane
Okay.
getting locked in. Definitely interesting.
And it was an insta lock too. It wasn't even they didn't even think about it. They just like, yep, we're gonna play him. So there's potential this could be a blue cane game because they want to steamroll and go to dinner early. Who knows? Lulu is a really good safe pick here because of that ultimate that she can use, the shielding she can provide as well. Overall, just the utility that Lulu provides if they lock it in. Okay, so they go ahead and lock it in. So Lulu will be the support pick for DST. And we follow up now with the second phase of picks and bans. What's going to happen here? They're going to stick with the banning of the top laners, which I guess, makes sense. They haven't picked a top laner yet on the side of CRG, but at this point, it's like, do you leave the Gwen open still? Or do you ban her? Like, I mean, for me personally, I would leave the Aurelia open and ban the Gwen. Because at least if you can get some hard CC, Aurelia is playable against. I'm saying this as a former Aurelia one trick after her rework. Yep, perfect. I like I figured. Leave the Aurelia open, ban the Gwen. That's the way they should take here. Unless they really fear the Aurelia, I don't think you really have a reason to. If you pick hard CC into it or someone who can just match her damage as well.
Yeah.
Like 10 seconds, they're hovering, they're thinking, they're probably talking about it in comms. Just get rid of the Gwen. Don't even think about it. Just
My dude's
don't even
eating
think
for this
about it.
Gwen ban. He's like, come on, guys, lock it in. I'm waiting for
There
it.
we go. Okay. I mean, it's just like that champion just steamrolled you. I mean, why even leave it open? If you really want to win and go to a game 3, you take away those things that kind of just ran you over in the last game. Those are the things you have to do in draft adaptations. You have to be able to adapt in these best of 3 scenarios. This is why North America doesn't ever do good at Worlds because we don't do best of 3s. I don't care if they make the schedule longer. We should start doing best of 3s. It would be so good for the region. And that's a whole rant for another time.
Yeah,
I
that's
won't
a
get
whole
into
rant for another
this.
time, man. I feel your pain on the LCS performance across the world, but such is life. And speaking of such
Maokai.
is life, Maokai. Oh my God, Maokai.
I like that pick actually. It's
I'm a
really good
Maokai
frontline.
enjoyer. I'm a
Hmm.
Maokai enjoyer myself.
So yeah, Maokai being that super tanky frontline that he can be, will rush the demonic first for that little bit of extra burn damage that he can get off of his saplings and just off of his ultimate a little bit as well. But also, he's that beefy tree that we really need. Maokai is kind of broken right now, and no one knows why. It just happened over the course of the new season. So
Yeah,
you take that.
he was yeah, like they buffed up his 2 damage to minions, especially in the jungle, and they just gave him a bunch of bonus damage just
Corky
thrown
again.
into his kit. I'm pretty sure he got his Q base damage up to minions nerfed like literally this patch because there's just like, dude, you could probably throw him into any role and he'd probably do fine. And I mean, for that, it's an understandable pickup, a pretty solid blind up in the top lane or in the jungle even. I mean, considering they locked in Kane, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it in the jungle. Keep that flex possibility up for the top lane.
Yone.
The Yone. We did see that
Wow.
Yasuo was banned the last game from
Last
DST,
game,
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken. So Yone top, not that much of a surprise, at least to me. And then the Corki, same matchup in the mid lane versus the Malzahar. It seems as though DST is totally content with taking that again, and it seemed fine, so might as well.
My only beef with CRG's draft right now is they don't really have that much engage. Really, kind of the Kane and the Corky, and more or less, but that's abilities they have
Sheesh,
the.
sheesh,
Hey,
man. Did we
Garen.
just see a Garen get locked in on R5? The Garen R5
A
lock in? Is
Garen
this what we're talking about right
R5.
now?
Wow, that is a pick we haven't seen in a long time. Is this Garen? This could go either one
Whew.
of two ways, regardless of of whatever happens, whoever he
Hey,
goes against, which is most likely the Yone, but still. But
hey,
we've
man.
seen a lot of things.
All I'm saying is that this comp is looking kind of juicy. Only thing that'd make it juicier would be a Karma instead of a Lulu, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just sitting there imagining like, dude, Lulu's fine. You can make it work with Ezreal, right? It's like you got your Q, you can weave in autos. I've seen
Yeah.
people start experimenting with crit Ezreal, considering he can just go Essence Reaver and Avori and live with it. Like that's a possibility, but man, Karma with Maokai and Garen. I mean, that's what those champions want is some shielding and some movement speed. So it's just like, dang, that's tough. But so far, an interesting draft.
Yeah, I'm going over it right now once again. So there's not that much engage on the side of CRG. You're heavily relying on Kane to either be Red Kane for that knockup, or you're relying on Yone or the Corki package when Morgana to land a snare. Nothing that's like an absolute like go button like on the side of DST with the Maokai ultimate. That is their go button. When they hit that, that's when they kind of speed run their way forward. I've been saying speed run a lot this week, and I don't know why. Anyways, where they kind of just like Maokai goes, they follow that, and that's the engage. They can go on from there. Malzahar can lock someone out with the ultimate. Garen can clean up, or even just like provide that little bit of extra DPS for the Ezreal to clean up the kills. So I like DST's draft a little more in terms of engage. Now CRG on the other hand, statistically based off of the last game, I think they could very much pull off this draft pretty handily if that makes sense.
Hmm. I mean, it's definitely an interesting draft. I mean, CRG's is nearly identical to their previous draft, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
your entire mid to bot side is exactly the same, and then you have the top and jungle are different, but they kind of have the same purpose as that. Like they just want to go in and just keep going further and further into a fight, right? Where it's just like Kane, even depending on the form, just wants to go into a back line and just charge in. Yon with his ultimate and his Z. Any ADC main knows that this dude can travel the whole distance of like 2.5 towers by himself without flash. So they've got a lot of tools at their disposal. I'm only interested in just seeing how it interacts with now a Maokai and a Lulu, which are going to be pretty tough to cut through.
Yeah, and before we send it to the analyst desk,
Ooh.
noticing a little bit of chitter chatter in chat, wondering, if anyone in CRG is smurfing. That is very, very unlikely because there are some people who don't play a lot of ranked games but still are very, very good. Something to keep in mind. Now, usually the admins here at Risen will go ahead and try to figure all that out for themselves. They will make sure people are not smurfing the way they are, because otherwise that would, disqualify them, and they wouldn't be able to do that if they were, smurfing from a higher elo. They wouldn't be able to play. The one thing you got to keep in mind is communication. There is a chance that maybe they just have way better communication because they've played together before. This is called Premade for a reason. These teams most likely have played together already in the past. They have synergy well with each other. Just some teams are just better than others, if that makes sense. Now, just something to keep in mind
Keeping
while
it in
we're here.
mind.
Just keep that in mind for here when we're in the pre-mades. It's not like Draft League where that guy can be any rank it wants and so on and so forth. That's kind of the more for fun. Pre-mades are more, locked up by specific elos, and that's okay. Don't mind it. It's good. Everyone is ranked how they're supposed to be. Some players are just better than others. That's just how it is. So, with that in mind, go ahead, toss it to the analyst desk while they go ahead, kind of dissect the strats for themselves, and we'll see you guys when we get in game.
Thank you, TVC, for mentioning that fact. That is very true. A Smurf would be disqualified because that's just immoral. Immoral. Okay. Anyways, how are you feeling about this draft, Light? I'm very curious because I actually have I don't know how it's gonna go, to be honest. Oh shoot, I'm muted. Oh my gosh.
Sorry
Oh.
about that. I'm muted.
Oh. Okay,
I
never
just want to
mind.
say, yeah, looking at the draft, I don't like CRG's draft to be honest. I prefer DST's this time. But the reason I would say CRG's draft is kind of weird is I think the cane is picked to be blue, right? Like he sees Ezreal, Lulu, and Mal's, and maybe he's looking to play blue with the Morgana shield. Um, I don't know. I would say that if they play like last game and like the Hecarim getting fed by the bot lane, um, I think it'll go the same way. But if Kane isn't getting fed off that bot lane again, I don't think that CRG's team comp is really that good, and um, it could go quite bad. Like if DST actually scales and plays lane phase a little more successfully this time.
So, um, let me flip the question. If you were to see, like, hope for, um, is it CRG? Yeah, CRG
Well, we
with
want hope for DST because
sorry, we
they
want
lost
hope
the
for
last game.
DST. Yeah, but if CRG were to flip and win, based on the comp you dislike, how do you think that would be executed?
I think if DST just plays even and plays to, I think their comp will just win. Like Maokai's such a power pick.
Yeah.
Garen is that perfect mobility, AD damage that they need for the team comp because Ezreal can't really suffice. And yeah, I just think their comp's pretty good. But that is if bot lane can play safe. Last time they did get caught out quite a bit when they were pushed up on the turret, and they kept giving over double kills. So if they can get that wrapped down, I think they got a good shot.
I mean, Ezreal is like overall for an AD carry, he's pretty slippery. It's like Lucian and
Yeah,
Ezreal, I
it's a good
find are very
choice since the
slippery.
last game. I think it's a
Yeah,
good
yeah. So it's good. Like he can play passive,
adaptation.
he can just chill out, and then Lulu can roam if she wants and come back to her baby. Like it's all good, And so maybe
Yeah,
that's like the call. And it is first week. The teams, some teams probably haven't even played together, but they've played versus each other. And they're coming together for the first week trying to figure out their play style. So maybe some teams are aiming for a more aggressive play style. Some teams are like, oh, maybe aggressive didn't work for us, so we need to do more of a passive sustaining lane. So it just depends. Obviously, it is the first week. We'll see how it goes.
yeah.
Before we send it to break, any last thoughts?
No, I just good luck to the teams. I hope DST can bring it back. I think they drafted pretty well.
Awesome, awesome. And it looks like the casters are excited. So we'll take it to break and then we'll bring it back to the game. Thanks, everybody.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here for Game 2 of this Best of 3 series of Premade Rampage League. If you were here just a couple minutes ago, you would have seen that CRG took the first game in this series and put DST on the back foot, but now it is Game 2, and we'll see if they can make this a 3-game series or if CRG can just sneak away with a clear 2-0, and they might be making a move right now. Malzahar, unaware, but he does get tagged. I guess tier plus mana flow diff, maybe.
I think the call there was to also see if Kane could get a little bit of orbs going for himself to kind of accelerate towards whatever form. In this case, there are a few squishies, so I don't think you should... I'm just predicting here. This is not a known fact. He could be going blue Kane. Very unlikely, but I think red Kane is the better option here because they need a front line, and red Kane can be that front line. He also looks like he's doing red smite, so it should be red Kane. I'm not much of a Kane player. The only Kane I know of for sure is from remembering when I Will Dominate was playing in OS for those few months. Then he like absolutely got like Kane form in like 5.5 minutes, and it was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And that was that's my knowledge of Kane. It's just you hit people, you get form, and then you do stupid damage. Easy peasy.
The easiest clap of your life. I mean, I'm here for whatever this Kane is up for. I mean, if you want, you can maybe do Shadow Assassin Kane, just go for that Ezreal or the Malzahar, or you could just go Red Kane and just feast off of the Maokai and the Garen and hope that they are tanky enough. But, I mean, considering how your top laner played, they might not get too tanky, but yeah, nice snare coming out from this Morgana. I mean, they gave this Morgana the same pick 2 games in a row, and they were pretty consistent at landing these bindings, so definitely going to be watching out for that.
Yeah, good on Pensman there for being able to get that priority pick with the Caitlyn Morgana. Still a strong bot lane as we've seen. Usually, you know, the priority picks in the bot lane right now are the Lucian Nami, the Zeri Yumi, but I mean, we're also in patch 13.1b, so the cat finally got gutted, which means we won't see her as much, and
Praise
I am
Lord.
so excited. Too good of a presence that Yumi had in pro play, but moving on. So here we are. A few minutes into the game, gold is even 2 minutes in, and we got a little bit of a trade on the top side.
Yeah, Garen is just going back and forth with this Yone here. We do have to keep in mind that he does have lethal tempo. The longer those fights go, the more it's going to favor him in the long run. But both of them have already used up their pots this early into the game. Morgana already fishing for another binding. Lands another one. Trap gets placed. Might not be in time, but it is, though. One more auto, but he walks away. Just doesn't secure any more damage onto him, and
I wonder if he thought the damage was there for the headshot, but it just wasn't enough. And I mean, Ezreal still had heal, so there was a way for him to get out of it. But wow, that was really close, and that could have swung the bot lane heavily in the advantage of CRG, just like that.
Yeah, I mean, now this time, just comparing both games, binding just barely missing. But looking at both of the games, right, it's like Kate Morgana versus Ashe Seraphine in the first game, it's a lot easier to contest the push here, but now you're playing Ezreal Lulu. There is a lot more agency given to this Caitlyn lane, and the top lane's looking very dire, to say the least. Garen is low on HP, and Yone is just going to town with it. Kane also walking in, seeing Maokai, chucking him out low. I wonder if he's going to try to zone them off of the wave here. He is walking in.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, Yone isn't able to connect the third Q there. So it looks like Maokai is going to get to live, and Garen just playing with fire in this lane.
The only advantage that Garen does have is he does have the extra health regen from his passive, so realistically he could stay in this lane if he wanted to, but will just back, get the TP off here 4 minutes into the game, and that is actually a crucial cooldown, because Yone should just back here and probably won't have to burn his own TP, because we got another wave crashing here in the next like 15-20 seconds or so. Yone should just be able to walk back, make sure that the lane stays where it is. Okay, highlight, he's TPing. Just make me look like a douche. All right, cool.
He's like, hey man, I know a little more about what I want to do than you know what I want to do. So I'm gonna just TP real quick.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, what are we even here for? We're just here to talk about the game, make it look cool. Trade here in the mid lane with a little bit of Damagi going off, and oh goodness, Yone.
Yeah,
popping
Jonas.
What's that Billy called?
Dude, I would tell you, but that is blanking on my mind as well. But hey, they
Soul
don't.
Unbound. That's what's
Soul
called.
Unbound. Congratulations to you, good sir. I shall give you a cookie. It might be a little dry after I mail it to you, but
It'd be pretty
Yon,
fun,
right
really.
now, doing pretty chill. And speaking of being pretty chill, Corky's got the HP advantage over in the mid lane, but Malzahar able to stay relatively close in farm, all things considered. Another trade up in the top lane. Silence does land as well as the E coming out from Garen.
Oh, he
Unable
missed
to land the
again.
third Q coming out from Yon, but stays even in terms of HP in that trade. But once these guys hit 6, even is not where you want to
Uh-oh.
be in terms of health bars. Nice W landing out here from the Maokai. Gets the sapling tossed up in front of him. He might be able to connect the slow. Forces the flash out of the Corky. And that is a pretty solid gank, all things considered. But now a 1v1 in the top lane. Yon landing the third Q, but doesn't continue any further fighting that Garen. Oh, but he still wants to go for it. Soul Unbound forces the flash, but the pullback is just not enough to kill him this time around. That
was
is
really close. Oh my god.
This two bases in a row where this Garen is living with a sliver of HP, but Yon just barely does not have enough damage to take him out. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, both of these mid laners are just vibing it out. Neither of them have based at all, and only a 2 CS difference here. Make it 1. They are as even as you can possibly ask for.
Yeah, so I'm taking over to the gold now to see what's going on as we're here, getting about 6.5 minutes into the game. 800 gold is the lead for Crown Royal Gaming at this point. I do love me some Crown Royal, but this is a family-friendly stream. Anyways, moving on. So we got a couple of gold leads here. 300 in the top lane, about 100 in the jungle, so you're not really paying attention to that. Mid lane is even, surprisingly. 300 in the ADCs and just even again in the support gold. So it's just little advantages that the solo laners are having on the side of Crown Royal Gaming, minus the mid lane. That's pretty close, but that bind was really close. I think if it landed, someone dies there. Now,
Yeah.
what are we doing here in terms of builds?
In terms of builds, I mean, it's looking like another.
standard.
Yeah, it's looking like another Ravenous Rush coming out from Corky. At
Mhm.
least that's what he did in the first game, and right now, there's a lot up in the air for this Ezreal. I mean, maybe he could be built. I'm here for the Essence Reaver, and it's just
Yeah,
the
yeah, I was
I'm
about to
very
say.
interested in seeing that.
I know what I'm seeing. Essence Reaver first is like the popular pick here. We're getting some mid prio going on, or not mid prio, but river prio, and Morgana is here first. Will not land the snare. Okay, but Delta Camera decides we need to be in the top lane instead. But the Rip Scuttle will go over to the side of CRG. Good old directed camera, just deciding to BM us. Another trade in the top lane again, but Garen has the steel caps, so realistically, I mean, can withstand some of these trades coming in. It's gonna be harder the stronger that Yone gets and the more damage. And here we go again.
Yep, just back at it again with the trading on the top lane. I mean, that to be fair, it's working out in Yon's favor. Having that bit of a gold lead, he's up 13 CS at the moment, and has at least a little bit of AD. But considering how it was going last game, I think DST will definitely take going this close to the Yon compared to how fed the Gwen was.
Yeah, I think Garen here is a comfort pick for Ride Fire. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. It looks better on it. Sure, the CS is gapped a little bit, and well, we were not even looking. It's just Dragon will go over to the side of CRG. That Mountain Drake, which will prove really well, and just giving a little bit of extra beef. And we just got a notification that Kane transforming is in progress, or early is what it said in chat. So might be close, shouldn't be close to one of the forms by now. I can't really tell where he's at the moment because, you know, the game is lame and doesn't tell us in spectator delay, but they can see it definitely on the side of CRG. So good for them. Would be cool if, you know, the spectator could just let us see it. No big deal, right?
Yeah, you'll be fine. We'll live with the outcome once we finally see it. But yeah, I mean, right now it was a pretty solid. It was a pretty solid drag pickup. He did take advantage of the fact that Kate Morgana just have all this presence in the lane. Speaking of presence, Trap gets landed after the Dark Binding connects, and that should be a dead Ezreal. First Blood going over to the side of CRG. The Ignite taking his life on the very last tick. And now the plates are soon to fall.
Yeah, there should be a fall of 2 plates here. So the first one has already fell. Oh, I lied. The wave has died. But once this does, they should push this in, shove it, get that second plate, get a little more extra gold in the back of the pockets. Looks like Morgana will back off. Solo gold for the... Okay, nope, never mind. They don't go for the second plate. I would agree to for the second plate, to be completely honest, because I think they could have gotten it. But they decided to make the safe play, not go for it at all. We got a lot of pings coming in here on the top side as Garen will be out of
they're
position.
looking for something. Garen trying to go in for a base immediately after clearing a ward, but he's got nowhere to go. Yon ultimate does connect as well as the Uncle Trespass coming in here from the Kane. But now the continuation of the fight comes out with the Maokai coming in and avenging his fallen teammate. He's trying to get something else going. He does land the snare. Malzahar is right there, but the third Q coming out from Yon. Flash EQ from Malzahar. Is it going to be enough?
No, it's not.
It
Oh, 36 HP. That's crazy.
Doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, Corki with the package. He doesn't tag Maokai, but he doesn't need it. Another dash forward. He might be able to kill the Malzahar here. The TP is coming out. Flashes forward, and that is a double kill going over to the Corki. And that's going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of CRG there.
Yeah, it looked pretty dicey there for a second for the side of DST, but just unlucky. You know, there's not enough damage to kill the Yone. Garen falls in the process of that whole thing, and it looked really close. But Corki on the roam up, following his laner, secures 2 kills for himself. This should be the Hydra being almost done here. So 800 gold in his back pocket right now. We'll pick up a little more, taking care of the Scuttle, and that should bring him close, if not already having...
Ooh. Seems like a full-out fight's happening up here. The Kalen's just constantly walking forward, switching targets, constantly binding. Does land onto the Ezreal, as well as the flash Q coming out from Kane, and that's going to be a kill going over to CRG once again. Pretty close fight, but Kalen knowing her damage.
Yep, and Kane is ready, but we're going to keep fighting, I guess.
Yeah, Kane doing the smart play, using his E to face check the bush, try to clear out a ward, but decided against it as he saw Maokai was creeping relatively quickly.
Very indeed. So we got the notification that Dark Kane is ready, so Red Kane will be coming in for this Kane, which makes sense. I mean, he has Conqueror, and like, he's not looking to really blow someone. If it was a team full of squishies, that's definitely blue Kane, and this game's over. Probably in like 18 minutes, let's be real, because that's what happens every time I have a blue Kane in my game. That's just what happens. Now, 4,000 gold almost for the side of CRG about 12 minutes in. They're going to be looking to, get these leads like further up from where they were. Corki has not backed yet, I just realized, and we're going to have a fight in the top side again.
Yeah, once again, another fight's breaking out. Maokai is here to try to save him. Nice ward coming out from the Yon, taking advantage of the fact that the Maokai W doesn't come out until he finally catches up to him, and he gets him to safety. Pretty good execution there coming out from Yon, keeping himself alive. And as you mentioned, we do see Red King coming in relatively quickly here. 2-on-1 King with the Finnish Gore Drinker, and it seems like he's going Murk Treads relatively soon.
I am fully expecting this Kane to be obnoxious. And Corki
another
here.
gank. Corki waiting for the W to connect here on the Maokai and just railing on the damage. Maokai unable to secure any kills as of late.
I mean, it's just going to go one of 2 ways when he tries to gank anybody. Just in the bot lane, you have the spell shield, so depending on where he picks that could be spell shielded away, no one gets rooted. You have the Corki who can Valkyrie away from it, and then on the side of Yone, he can just dash out of it, exactly like he did with either his ultimate or his third Q. Kind of impressive gameplay coming in. It's like they know what to expect from this Maokai, to where they could just like, okay, he's getting ready to dash, let me get my dash ready myself, and then just easy peasy, no one can follow him, boom, done. Now, turret plating will be falling in the next 30 seconds. Garen is kind of lurking in the mid lane. Nope, never mind, he's going to back. I think they might have thought that something could be there, but the lane is pushing towards in favor of the Malzahar, so nothing will come of that. Gonna go back to these leads that we got here, take over to the gold. We have a 1,400 gold lead in the top lane, which is mostly CS and assists, and in the jungle we have 600 gold, which is surprising, but I guess that kill kind of evens out, that little bit of a gap for the here in the mid lane. It is 1,000 gold. Yep, objective bounties are already coming online as well. We're only 14 minutes in the game. They're only up 4K, which is what I'm surprised about, is the Y is already popping up. But Maokai is here. They're going to start fighting, and will he follow? No, he backed off, actually.
Finding unable to connect here. They might have looked for another play once again. Caitlyn is already on Kraken Slayer, and they do have full control over the river at the moment. Sapling gets tossed. He jumps in onto Corki, but there's just nowhere near enough shielding coming from this Lulu to keep that Maokai alive. Trap does land onto Ezreal. He does get tagged by the Kayn here. Does land the double knockup, lands the Q plus the Gore Drinker, throw in an auto attack, and that Ignite is not going to do anything to this guy. That is another kill picked up for the side of CRG. Make it 2 for 0 and the next Dragon. And they're pretty much in the driver's seat at this point. There's no way for Malzahar to ever contest this, and Garen is just at the mercy of this Yone at this point.
I'm right there with you. I mean, the Gore Drinker is being built on the Garen, but like, there's no damage really right now. Like, Ezreal just finished the Triforce, so there's some damage there. The Ocean Dragon gets taken on the other side of the map, and we have a Hex Tech Rift, so those Hex Gates are going to be really nice, you know, getting anywhere on the map faster. Blue team has taken the first turret. As I say that in the announcer voice really weirdly. Caitlyn takes the turret at the bot lane. I don't know why I said it that way.
Aaron looking for a fight here. We do see Malzahar was coming up, but nowhere near enough damage. Yeah, they are just trying to gang up on this dude. R plus ultimate, and he is out of there.
He gets out.
Hey, I told you guys at the start of the game, I'm like, this dude can travel the distance of like a whole tower and then some if you give him the chance, and he did.
I have a friend who absolutely hates Yone, and it's plays like that are reasons why. He memes and says Yone players have smooth brains, and you know what? Sometimes I kind of agree. They can just mash their keyboard, get out of really sticky situations, and make it look easy.
Okay, wait. Okay, sorry to cut you off there, but Corky is just kind of 1v4 in their jungle, just getting run down.
There's no way he gets out, right?
Nah, he gets out. They gave up on him. I was gonna say that it was just like, yeah, he's just kind of sitting there behind the wolf wall, and he makes it away safely. This, I feel like it's just kind of showing the tough spot that DST is in, but Garen looking for a play here, forces the flash out of Morgana. That silence was pretty damaging there. And, I mean, right now, flash forward plus the QR, and that is a dead Morgana. Don't know what you were fishing for a binding there for, but at least it gets a DST another kill on the board.
Much needed kill too. I mean, that gets some gold in the back of the Garen's pocket because you want. Ooh. Wow, look at these sidesteps.
Sidesteps coming out from Malzahar. He's feeling himself. He lands the Q, drops down the E. Blash R coming in. Lulu is his backup, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. It actually might be Flash away, and it is the haunting guys. The burn coming out from Leandries is just too much for him, and I guess the Lulu gank was enough. Speaking of ganks, we do see Maokai trying to contest the Kayn here on the Rift Herald, and he does steal it away from him. Now he's got backup, but is it going to be enough? Kayn is alive. He flashes out of the pit. Maokai follows him, but I don't know if it's going to be enough in a 1v1. All the while, direct the camera saying, hey, let's look at the bot lane as Yo tries to 1v1 under the tower. Dies to the Ezreal. Kayn still 1v4. No help from his team whatsoever, and the shutdown goes over to Malz once again. And that is a lot of gold going over to the pockets of DST.
You know, for those smart Alex in Twitch chat who were saying that the top laner is smurfing, the Smurf would have won that fight. Just saying. Anyways, as I'm done throwing shade. So in the meantime, as we saw, you know, a solo kill, not really a solo kill, but in the mid lane there is a fight that happens. Down goes the Mouse or the Corki, and on the other side you have a Rift Herald fight. Goodness gracious. It's just, they just collapsed perfectly onto them. They steal the Herald, which is actually going to be huge to get some extra gold back in the pockets. Lulu is in a weird backing spot.
Yeah, Lulu trying to take a base here, tries to slow down the Corki. They might not be able to reach him in the top lane. They sent the Morgana and the Caitlyn up there, trying to get another tower. And it could be possible, but they do send two people there to contest them. Lulu able to get the base off. Corki now is just left to his own devices, trying to poke out this Malzahar.
He dies, okay. Woo, that was a lot closer than I'm willing to admit. It's just, I mean, if Corki just lands one big rocket, he kind of just dies. Or Yone does this.
Coming out from his E, and that is a dead Malz overstaying, sadly. Now, pretty efficient wave clear.
Okay.
Pretty efficient wave clear coming out from this Garen here. Holding his own against the Kate Morg. Does eat the blinding. The W from Caitlyn, the trap, just not close enough. And this tower probably falls on the next wave unless the side of DST has anything else to say about it.
And now we also have pinks coming out on this dragon from the Maokai. As you know, wait, they might fight here.
Yeah, Lulu just like pulls up and Caitlyn decides to step back. They don't want to go for this tower just yet. Yone by himself taking the blue side jungle off of DST. And I mean, for right now, they're doing okay, right? Like they
Yeah,
were
they're doing
ahead, a
fine.
bit more ahead earlier on before that fight at the Rift Herald, but it seems as though that CRG are just kind of taking it one step at a time. Speaking of one step at a time, Shirelia is on top of the Q
Oh my
silence
god,
coming up
this
from the Garen,
movement.
but he just doesn't have enough damage into his kit. He gets the ultimate out of the Garen right now, but the Kane has already pulled up
Oh.
into the fight. Same with the Corki. Ace in the hole secures the kill for the Caitlyn, and Kane picks up the kill onto Garen. That makes it so that majority of the team
Wait,
is
wait,
on
wait,
the
Baron
top side of
pings.
the map.
They're pinging onto the Baron right now. It is
The
20
Baron
minutes.
pings.
Are they gonna do it? They're actually gonna do it right on spawn. That's actually crazy.
2 games in a row, man. 2 games in a row. CRG are just going for the Baron on the second it spawns.
But they're trading the dragon on the other side, which I guess is good, more or less. But you're going to have a 2,500 gold swing go in the favor of CRG in this case. So I think you'd rather take the 20-minute Baron knowing that, like, they can't answer this. And they don't even know. They have no vision to even know they're doing it right now. And it just goes down. It's gone.
Yeah, that Baron take a little slower than the first game, but DST trying to make up for it. They do drop the Rift Herald in the mid lane that they stole the first time around, and they did pick up the Hextech Dragon, denying soul point for CRG right now. Does get the crash, but it doesn't take the tower yet. They do have gold bounties available on these objectives. All the while, it seems as though that the bot lane of CRG hasn't based yet. They're just continuing to push in the top lane. They are able to secure that tier 1 tower there.
Yep. Gold in the back of their pockets. So, you know, you take that. You're like, all right, let me just get us a little bit of extra gold. Caitlyn will finish her second item in the Infinity Edge because that's the 80 carry meta we're at right now where you can just do that second item. So good for them. A tower will fall in the mid lane. You want that objective bounty. You want that extra gold. You're like, okay, we need to turtle for a little bit. We have good damage here. They don't really have the really good engage on the side of CRG. They know that. And I'm pretty sure CRG knows that too, which is why they're mainly looking for picks most of the time. Just a lot of their picks just end up going really well. And fight here in the lane. Okay, just a little bit of trading. Nothing really to worry about for the Malzahar. Mid tower.
Nothing really crazy.
Ezreal has the flash. Oh my god.
Oh, decent attempt at a sidestep, but yeah, as you said, forced to flash away from all the poke that's coming out from the side of CRG here. And he gets chunked out to pretty much no HP and barely in him, and if I'm not mistaken, he's forced to recall here. CRG may very well get this second tower if they decide to group up for this.
It doesn't look like it. The three of them probably realistically could take it on their own. Garen is here in the cut, so they'll probably deter them from wanting to walk up. A lot of damage onto a little bit of damage onto the Caitlyn. I thought it was gonna be a lot more. Doesn't have really that big deeps that you would see with this second item. So all good for now. They're just gonna turtle, let this Baron wear off. Garen taking a lot of damage from the Corki. Just those 2 items on him are just, they're so obnoxious. That's the best word I will say is those 2 items, and when he finishes the Ludens, Corki's damage is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And one thing that I absolutely cannot stand is why Riot Games decided, well, they're going for a play here.
Yeah, they're looking for something. They are able to get the second tower. CRG does use a TP here, and they are able to chunk out this Ezreal. Went a bit forward. 2-man Yon ulti connects here, and that is a dead Ezreal. The snapback keeps him alive, forcing out the Maokai ultimate. And with no carry available to him, he can't go any further. Gets eaten up by the Morgana binding. The burn ticking away, but just not enough to take him down. Meanwhile, CRG are free to push down this mid lane. They take the mid inhibitor tower, and now they're focusing on the inhibitor. They do get the knock up onto this Garen. They're trying to take some damage onto him. Chunk him out to about half HP. They take the inhibitor, and it seems as though they're going to fall back to their safety.
It makes sense. I mean, you got an inhibitor. You don't need to push any further. Ezreal will be coming up shortly here in the next couple of seconds. You back off, maybe steal some camps. There's none up right now, but this is what you would ideally do. Corki is backing on a ward. Does anyone notice? Nope, I guess not. He's going to get out. All right. So the Baron buff will fall off. They have secured themselves an almost 10,000 gold lead. It's about 9.5-ish at the moment. And you take that. I mean, you broke the base. Cool. Your wallets are still fat. Cool. Yone just finished his Infinity Edge. Cool. This is all these little things that are coming in, and it's just like the practice and teamwork that CRG have at the moment is very, very impressive. Just their coordination their calls. Sure, they have a little weird funkiness going on when they try to go for really weird 1v1s like we saw in the bot lane, but good for them. And I'm really vibing with like how like they're connected as a team. Not saying that DST is not connected. They're also connected as a team. It's just there is some communication things that are going on that I feel that they can fix as the season goes on. But like it's the first game, you're warming up.
Another attempt at a fight. They do get the spell shield off of the Malzahar Ace, and the hole is securing his fate as the snapback is more than enough damage coming out from this Yone. And it is a tough spot to be in with the Drax spawning in about 40 seconds, and you're down a man from the side of DST. Garen getting completely chunked out by the Corgi. Morgana binding, landing onto the Maokai. Spell shield thrown onto the Yone. Maokai ultimate not going to stop him at all. Knock up landing from the Yone. They do get the Lulu ulti to counter back and push the Yone away, and it forces them out of there. Garen one hit away. Corki unable to land the extra bit of damage he needs to pick up another kill, but he definitely zones Garen off of that tower. Drax spawning in 10 seconds.
Yeah, we don't get a whole picture as the whole league. We usually have just one game that we see, and then we kind of get filled in as the rest of the week goes on, or rest of the night rather, because every team plays at once, but only one game gets streamed. It's not like Draft League where there's 2 teams playing at the same time, which would be kind of cool for the future. But anyways, the soul point for the Dragon is secured. They are now on soul point. Will this game last for the next soul? I doubt it. They're up 10,000 gold. There's just it's going to be hard if they do manage to pull it back. 48 seconds to the Baron. And I think if they get the Baron, the game just ends. That's just me.
I wanted to ask, and I know the gold lead is astronomically high at this point, but I've seen gold leads this big get thrown. I don't say that from experience. Totally not. But is there any way that you see that DST could potentially bring this game back? Like, is there a silver lining? If there a path that they could possibly take to salvage this game from where it is right now?
Well, they have a lot of CC. Actually, okay, I'm gonna say no because they're gathering around the Baron 9 seconds before it spawns. Well, I was gonna try to see if there's anything that like I don't know. Yeah, Baron's gonna go down, and I think the game's just kind of over at this point. I just don't see a way for them to come back in once they get this. Maybe they try to lock someone down, but like a 5v5, it's gonna go.
They are getting vision. They might look for something here. They do not contest the Baron here. Garen goes in by himself, 1v3. We do see the Maokai ultimate going over the wall, but Garen is not long for this world as 5 members are more than enough damage to take him down. Corki looking for something. He does have package available to him. Everybody else on the team is right in front of him. It could be a potential lineup here. Kane's going forward with him, and now that he's there, the package does drop. Maokai looks for the W, secures it onto the Corki, but he's not dead just yet. The Ravenous keeps him alive. Yone interacting in the fight from a mile away, and that is an ace going out here for CRG, and that is a end game, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's game. Yeah,
tell me if I'm wrong, but considering they're being TP'd on in the base with nobody alive, I think that's a game.
Yeah, I mean, GG's to CRG. I almost said CLG, fun fact, but they'll take the series 2-0. But it's the first game of the league. You're warming up. You're figuring out each other's niches. You gotta figure out. You now see, if you're the rest of the league, you see that CRG are pretty solid with all of their laners. Like, all of them are pretty solid. Same with DST. They had moments where they also showed that they were going to be very good with those picks that happened, those weird, awkward fights that happened in the river, like those when they collapsed on in the Rift Herald. And I formally believe that, both teams can, be what I'm looking for. They can be contenders for this. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it just goes the better coordination on the side of CRG, and DST maybe has a little bit of time, a little more time that they need to kind of meld and mesh. Because like we saw good moments in both games, I will admit. So they just need a little more time. And I think DST can be a really good team. CRG, this is the only game we're seeing. I mean, the rest of the teams we don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see as the season goes on. They could be contenders for probably taking this whole thing. I know. Overreaction, week 1 overreaction. They do the same thing in every other whatever.
Overreactions after the first game? What are you talking about?
Imagine that.
I will say, like, if there's anybody that I'm putting my money on, CRG made a decent case. I mean, not only did you win the first game with a pretty strong, like, top and jungle duo, right?
Yep.
You then draft the same 3 members in the bot lane, and it goes just as well as it did in the second game. So not only did the enemy team wasn't able to adjust well enough, but you were able to get an even bigger lead. Just like it was 10K that early, and the last point, they did that with 3 bans.
You didn't have
So
to. Yeah.
they didn't have 2 of those bans. So if you're playing against them and they actually have 5, they probably are in an even better spot. So if there's any case of like, hey, who could I overreact for? I'd probably say this team.
I agree. All right. Well, I guess that does it for us. So, like me and you specifically, because the analyst is going to break down the game. And now
Yeah,
for me and Swift, we'll be here probably next week. I don't know. They hate
maybe.
us. Just
Who
kidding.
knows? Like, hey, they might fire me. It's just we'll have to wait and see. Every week's a new week. So
True that. Right. Analyst desk, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I guess, yes, thank you to Swift and thank you to DBZ for that awesome, like, play-by-play and then explaining the whole game and being casters. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get
And that
fired. You did great.
they might get fired from today for predicting the wrong things, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, they're
They're
so
not gonna
mean.
get fired the whole season.
Didn't
They'll
they?
be here
Didn't they
the whole
say?
season.
Didn't they say DST we're gonna win? And we said CRG.
I don't want
They
to
put
hear
it in
your spec
practice.
It,
talk.
I
If you
think
look
it
at
was
their
like,
OPGGs, it shows they played a lot of ranked
oh,
games already. And that means they've been
GGs.
putting in practice. They know the meta, and that showed today. So good for them.
Yes.
Even if people think
Well,
they're Smurfs, I don't know. They did pretty good. Like they had good CS and they have good like communication. It looks like so. Good job.
yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like, well, both teams, I think they both have good teamwork, good synergy. It's just obviously one always has to leave the winner.
yeah,
Both are winners in my eyes. So it'll be fun to see what happens with both teams going into the season. I mean, you never know.
for sure. I
DST
think
will bring it
DST
back.
has potential. Like I think that they need to decide like who they're gonna play through, and it should be their AD carry, right? They have the strong platinum player support, and it looks like their AD carry is pretty aggressive. Like they had in the first game, they were pushing their opponents underneath turret. They're being pretty aggressive, and like maybe they're strong laners in that sense. They're just getting caught. So maybe if their jungler or mid laner can make some more proactive plays around them, maybe they could get some better early game leads and have more prio in their lanes because of that. But when they're always playing for behind, it's pretty hard for their good compositions that they drafted. They don't get to play out the way that they probably envisioned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have all season to try out their visions, so that it's just the first day.
Yeah, but good job to both teams. That was really fun to watch. Thank you.
Yay! What was your favorite highlight? I love talking about highlights. What was it?
I like Yone top. It's just so fun. So
Oh
I'm
dang it!
glad
I
they
want
picked
to
it.
ask the casters too. Well, I guess like they can hear. Well, I'll translate it. They can tell me what Swift DVZ. Can you hear me? No, you don't
Mhm.
have to say. What were your highlights? I'll translate it for everyone to hear. Oh no,
Uh,
Swift is crying. He's crying. Just kidding. I can't
that's it.
highlight it. He's out. DVZ.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, yeah. They
Yeah.
don't have any highlights. For me, it's the start of the season, so that's exciting. And I got to cast, or not cast. I got to host with, we got a new host. This is Light now up online. I don't know if I'm pointing to the right direction. He's waving. It's one side, and then I get to cast with these two again. Hosted with these two, DBZ and Swift. So I'm really excited about that. And then first time production manager. Is it production manager? Yeah, that's the
You
right
got the
right
Wookiee.
term, yeah. It's Wookiee.
But yeah, great job, guys. Like you guys did such a good job casting the game, so it's fun to watch. Made it
Yeah, it was
exciting.
super fun. I had a great season and, both teams did amazing, and I guess that's all I have to say. Hopefully, we get to see more action
Yeah, I'm
going into
excited to
week
see how the
2.
rest of the league plays out because I'm new to the Rampage, so a couple of fun teams to start it off, and maybe in the
Yeah.
next times we'll see the more like the top tier teams that won out last season. So hopefully we get to see that too.
Ooh.
Be
Yes,
fun.
that's so saucy. It's so exciting.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you to
Check out the
everybody who
schedule.
oh, sorry. Any last words before I call us
No,
out?
continue.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you everybody for watching. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. There's many more games. Are we hosting tomorrow too? Or any games tomorrow too?
Tomorrow is Dominant League.
Oh, tomorrow we got Dominant League, so please tune in. What time is that? I'm just getting confirmations.
Yes. All I know is that it'll be pinged. I
Eastern
have no idea
time.
what time it's
It
at.
will be pinged into the Discord, everybody. So you'll receive a notification, but I think it's around the same time, probably 7:30 EST. But anyways, thank you everybody. Have a good night. Take care.
Thank you
Bye
for
bye.
watching. Bye.